Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship Qualifier, as we've already had 13 players across the season qualify for their positions at the World Championship in Katowice, and tonight we decide 3 last spots.
That's right, there's going to be 16 players who will go head-to-head at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. We have 8 players who have made their way through the tournaments and the tour that we've had so far in Season 9, and 8 players that will make it through the qualifiers. We can take a closer look at the players that have made it so far, and will be competing for your pleasure in just a couple of weeks' time now. The 12th of March is the start of the tournament. We've got big players like Tasia coming through. We can take a closer look and have a look at this for you. We've got Tasia, who started off the season with a victory over Solar. We have Zest and Flash, who came through Toronto. We have Hero and Rain through San Jose. Mario and Life more recently in Taipei. And then we had this morning some qualifier runs already happening. The North American qualifier and Open qualifier, bear in mind. We had Trap and Byung come through. And then this morning we had the Korean qualifier, Patience, Innovation, and Dark. 3 excellent players making their way to Poland. Yeah,
and Patience being able to qualify through was quite the surprise, quite the shocker to me. And then Dark actually beat the previous world champion from the Intel Extreme Masters in SOS in that 3rd place spot. So congratulations to those players having advanced on. Even if you do qualify, the 16th place gets some pretty good money alone in Katowice. So just qualifying alone gets you in the money.
Yeah, I mean, qualifying for the World Championship is awesome. I mean, to play on the stage that we saw last year, to be a part of that tournament is going to be memorable for every single player that makes it there. We can take a closer look at the bracket to have a look at what's happening today, as the tournament has already started roughly 1.5 hours ago. It was a 256-player bracket, and we're roughly into the round of 64. So I'm just going to scroll down here for your pleasure. You can have a look at maybe noticing some of your favorite players, such as Dongray Goo's there, Bunny's there, Cure, who played a couple of times in America. You know, Liquid Hero. Sorry's been making a name for himself recently.
And Hydra, who's attended a few of these Intel Extreme Masters now, after previously playing in Taipei. So a lot of players from every single region looking to push on through. There's only 3 spots remaining, as we mentioned.
Yeah, Youth Thermal, Lil Bo, clash of some classic European players. You've got Major, who played more recently in WCS. You've got True, my favorite Zerg.
Oh, geez, don't curse him today, man. Don't curse him today. But
Symbol in there. And this is the game which is coming onto your screen now, which we'll be covering first. Roof versus Snute. As you can see on the left-hand side here, let me just highlight it for you for a second, is Roof was able to go through Lucera on his way to going up against Snute there. A massive victory.
Yeah, very well done by him. It's not often that you see people like Roof being able to compete with the Koreans there, but he does take the win in that heated Zerg versus Zerg.
Yeah, Fantasy playing from the European server himself today. Has traveled over with his new team. You got Partings in this qualifier, Hearts in this qualifier, Petraeus is in this qualifier. It's a great bracket with a lot, like you said, a good mix of talent from absolutely everywhere.
All right, so we're going to be starting with our first best of 3 of the day. Not only that, just to give you a little bit of a structure as what's going to go on here. It's going to be best of 3s all the way up to the semi-finals, when it's then best of 5s. We'll be covering both ones which determine the first 2 spots going over into the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. And then we'll be covering the 3rd place match for that final spot. So a lot of StarCraft coming up.
Yeah, awesome amounts of StarCraft coming over the next couple of hours. Looking forward to it, and looking forward to see who can make it through. Snute, a player that we want to try to see him make his way through to play at that tournament. Roof, though, has already upset Lucera in the previous round. He may be able to do it here against Snute as well.
All right, well, let's get into game at number 1 then. It's going to be on Overgrowth for our first map in this best of 3, as we have spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner. It is our purple Zerg. It is NRS Roof. And then up to the top right-hand corner, it's our red Zerg. It is Snute.
Yes, it is. Well, it looks like, I think, is it my PC that's observing right now? I think it is.
Wrong one.
Yeah. You have to switch on to the other PC. But this will be a cool series. I'm looking forward to this one. I don't know how well Snute's going to do, or how well Roof will do throughout this qualifier. Snute did try to play in the American one earlier, and got quite far and lost out. I can't remember. He He beat Marine King and then lost one round before. I'll have a look for you.
Regardless, I mean, wherever you're going to be playing in these qualifiers, it's very, very tough. Everyone from every single region is allowed to play. It's just that they are based on the server that they are named after.
He lost to Byong, who then went on to qualify.
Ah, okay. Well, makes a lot of sense. Snute being knocked out by one of the eventual winners of the tournament. No surprises.
All right, so spawn and pool opening up here first for Roof. 15 spawn and pool, whereas Snoot's gone for the 15 hatchery. So a little bit more cautious here, Roof coming into this one. It's best of 3.
And I'm wondering if we're going to see Roof get a little bit aggressive later on. The thing is that for me, Roof has been one of those players I followed for a long, long, long time in the European scene, and I always thought he was going to break through. I always thought he was going to do a little bit more with his career. Sadly, hasn't quite hit the mark. I wonder if he could in 2015. He had a bit of a rough couple of years in StarCraft and then in previous games and stuff.
Yeah, he's been around since the beginning of time in StarCraft 2, but has never really made a big damage, a big big impact onto the European scene, sadly.
Yeah, well, one day maybe he does. Maybe today is that day, if he's able to beat Snute here and move on a little bit further. We'll find out. As Snute is going to scout on forwards, sees the hatchery, and knows that it is a spawning pool first here from Roof, so has to be a little bit cautious with the Overlord, but he may do what Snute normally does, which is loop it around the back here and then try and poke in for that gas, which I have seen him be successful with even against spawning pool first.
Well, both players very similar in terms of the gas, and that's the most important part at the moment, because that kind of judges where they are in the game on how fast they can get Zergling speed, how fast they can go to layer, how fast they want to get an upgrade early on. Kind of shows us the pace of the game.
And Roof gets the opportunity to scout in here because he was going up against Hatchery first, so that's nice for him at least. He gets confirmation of that gas and knows what's going on.
He knows it's identical to his.
Gonna have to move back.
Which, when your gas is identical, you kind of usually end up doing something very similar to each other. But you can take an easier route being the defensive play, because your opponent's going to have the Zergling speed at the same time as you, going to have the Bailey Nest at the same time as you if you try to race with him, but he has to travel distance to the other side of the map. So usually it pushes both players to play in a more standardized defensive way.
Bailey Nest going down at the front for Snute, which is more defensively positioned usually here.
He's the player who's got the least amount of information. The one bit of information he's still gathering from is an Overlord that's on the ramp that saw drones transferring down. So I don't know if that's going to push him to play defensive or aggressive.
He hasn't managed to see the Bailey Nest at the front, but again, Roof, likewise, it is a bit more of a defensive posture. But look at this Snute, adding on a lot of links to start up, so a little bit of pressure himself.
He sees his opponent droning, so he's going to try and do a bit of pressure. He's going to drone behind it. But 18 Zerglings can get a lot done, and if he's droning behind it, he's only got to kill a couple of drones to be quite far in the lead.
And there are 2 Zerglings down here for Snute that could poke forwards and get a little bit more information regarding the Baneling Nest, etc. But these 2 extra Lings are going to push Roof back at the front. That's quite a lot of Lings out, actually, for a Snute that aren't really doing too much just yet.
Yeah, and he's already morphing Bailings on the other side of the map.
We're not being spotted. And now here come the Lings. We see this, Roof does actually spot this with his Overlord, so has a little bit of time to prepare. He actually started that Spike Crawler a bit quicker there.
It's quite late. I mean, I don't think it's going to be in time.
Yeah. I didn't think he was actually even going to go for it before, but goes for it. That Baneling's just going to walk on in and do some damage to drones. If the Zerglings can get in too, but the Baneling should be able to now.
So far, pretty good from Roof. Pretty solid.
Playing his units well. Here come 3 Banelings though. Has to be careful. And he does get a 1 or 2 drones. Not too many, in fact, just 1.
That's the thing, is even though he only got 1 drone kill, a lot were not mining, and there was a lot of units being forced to be made. If you look at the overall outcome of the worker difference, it is Snute who is miles ahead in terms of the income now.
Well, now he's going to have to produce a few Lings in terms of the defense, or just a few, maybe some Banelings.
But one thing Snute doesn't have is a layer started. He's got a good economy, but no layer, which means the tech advantage clearly in favor of Root, whether it be the Spire or it looks like the Spire to be used.
Yeah, it's become more common. There is the Spire going down now, and Snute just has to get himself well set up here with a few Banelings, as I was saying before.
I'm not sure what Snute's doing. Like, is he going to throw down a Roach Warren?
You make a good point. You make a very good point.
With no layer.
This is very slow.
And Roof goes in and sees it. There's a lot of drones. Don't get me wrong here. There's a lot of drones for Snute. He's just very far behind when it comes to his layer.
Surely he has to do some pressure now himself to keep Roof on the back foot whilst he's trying to tech up.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that Snute just won't have is Roach speed anytime soon. No Overseer to know exactly what he's playing against. He's going to be late on his correct anti-air, I suppose. He does have Queens, but the Mutalisk, I mean, I don't mind Roof's position.
He's doing all right. He's doing all right. He's going to take an engagement at the front here as Roof, forcing back these Zerglings for a little bit. And he has plenty of Banelings to deal with this for a second. And a second Spinecrawler is even being added on at the front, so... Ooh. All right, a lot more Banelings are morphing in. He really needs to do damage to this economy. He's seen the Spire the whole time. Loses a lot of Zerglings at the front there to Roof's Banelings.
What?
That's a lot of Banelings. Okay. They didn't even get that second Spinecrawler, so all in all, no drone kills. And now the Spire, there's 5 Mutalisks on the way. This will give Roof a good position on the map.
And the Infestation Pit coming into play. Yeah, the Mutalisk is going to be able to do quite a lot here. I wonder if he's going to dedicate to them or tech switch away from them. With the Infestation Pit already coming in, it looks like we are going to see like a Queen Infester combination, which is pretty good. It depends on if we're going to see a high Mutalisk count, because then it's not as good. And especially if Roof can find a way to be able to break this third with the Mutalisk advantage that he has. If he breaks this third, it's huge.
He's morphing in some Banelings here as well to go on for an assault on this location. Queens are already trundling out there to try and defend it, knowing that that was going to be the point of contention.
Yeah, 5 Queens here, 6 Queens, 7 Queens.
That is a lot of Queens. Going to be more popping soon as well. He's going to go up to 10 very, very soon. So the Queen's going to have to try and hold on. Banelings walk into all of these and don't really do too much. There was Transfuses available. Maybe brought down 2 Queens or so.
Really nice Queen defense from Snute to protect his third, while understanding that that's going to be easy for him to do. He launches a counterattack of Lings.
Ooh, going to try and go into the main base. See if he can get any drone kills down here as well. Even if he gets Queens, that's not too bad. Limiting a little bit of the production here from Roof. He's going to have to dart straight back on out.
Yeah, economy heavily in favor of Snute here. Roof is spending more and more money into this kind of 2-base play because he's without this third. He needs to do damage in this game. If he doesn't start to do damage towards this third base, or at least the second or something, he's going to lose this game. Snute's economy is way too strong.
And he's found the third base as well. Might even be able to cancel it with just a few Lings, but here come the reinforcements for Roof, as he was reacting properly. So should be able to shut that down. These Mutalisks are actually being left alone, and he's going to lose another one here to just Queens alone.
It's Ling, Queen, Infester as the anti-air here for Snute, and a lot more Zerglings on the way. If he just holds this third here with this Nexus tool, he'll be fine.
Here come the Lings to reinforce against with the Mutalisks as well here at these Queens, but Transfuses are keeping these Queens alive for a long, long time. He had so much energy banked up across the 8 or so Queens that are present. And here comes an Infester as well. Whoop, has to drop a Fungal.
Yeah, those Lings coming in just in time here for Snute.
Not too bad. A nifty little defense so far from Snute. Of course, he loses some of the Queens, but it's only mineral investment with that, so it's not exactly the biggest of hits.
And his income is just miles, miles, miles ahead of what Roof has.
He's going for an attack with some more Lings, trying to do some damage down here, and will be pushed away. A bit difficult with just these Lings alone to actually do something.
Yeah, good creep spread, and now the Infestors are out. If Mutalisks try anything, they are dead meat.
Yeah, that's a strong composition he's got there. That's for sure. And he doesn't even have that many Mutalisks to his name, really. Only 7. And he sees the 4th base going down as well. He's got to know that Snute feels quite comfortable here.
Yeah, Roof is trying to make a transition now. He's got Roach attacks on the way. He's just finished up the Roach War, and Roach Speed should start, and he's going to start playing with Roaches. He's still 13 drones behind. There is a huge timing where he's going to be incredibly weak, a huge window where Snute can push his creep down the right-hand side and be able to move out himself very, very shortly.
Yeah, that +1's going to do a lot once he gets that up and running. And these Mutalisks are trying to find some damage here and there, but again, they can't stray forward too much. Those Fungals would lock them down. Maybe try and poke over at the 4th base, because the creep spread isn't as flourishing over in that direction.
Yeah, he's going to be able to try and... Well, he will harass us. I don't think he'll get the kill, but...
Yeah. Oh, well. Queen's even off creep, able to reinforce nicely.
Snute's going to have this wonderful attack down this right-hand side flank soon.
Yeah, especially, again, you know, even if he wasn't paying attention fully to the idea of keeping all of the energy for transfuses, he got some active creeps tumors going quite quickly down that way. So it is going to hit pretty hard and pretty fast.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult to stop. Rufus decided to try to play Stormhost here, so if he's able to get up to about 10, then he can start to hold off locations, but it's going to be very difficult because the Stormhosts are going to be so immobile that they cannot defend multiple locations against a high number of roaches, which Snute has.
And the Mutalisk just continuously killing off some of this creep on the right-hand side, which will slow down Snute a little bit, but not by a huge amount. Army supply is 126 against 60. Those Swarm Hosts really need to be out very soon.
Yeah, I mean, if he has 10 on one location, like 10 on the third base, yeah, that's okay, he can defend that. But what happens if the roaches run around towards the main base?
Yeah, very difficult.
10 is okay to defend one location, but defending multiple is going to be very difficult. And if they're all spread out...
Yeah. That's if they all get over here in time, as you say. If they're all spread out, what are you going to do about this? That many locusts, they're not really going to do too much damage whilst these roaches are pushing on forward. Snute realizes that by the looks of things, and will throw down a few Infested Terrans to help out against the Mutalisks at the back. Good Chain Fungals as well on top of the majority of them. And it's just going to plow on through.
Yeah. If he kills his hatchery, the game ends.
He actually doesn't have an Overseer. Did he have an Overseer there with him? I don't think he did.
No, he didn't.
Whatever. GG. Game number 1 goes to Snute in this best of 3. And we'll be going on to game number 2 in just a bit.
Yeah, it was a very solid, I think is the best way to describe it, game from Snute. Nothing too fancy, just solid macro, solid mechanics, solid defense, and solid attack.
And I'm curious as to how Roof's going to approach the second game, because when he got in there and saw the lack of layer from Snute, he must have been feeling a little bit all right considering his position.
Yeah, when you see no layer, you're usually expecting some type of attack, but Snute's drone count was very high. I think that just Snute made a slight mistake by not getting the layer at the right time. He had Queen production beginning very early on, but he should have started the Spire early. It would have made him feel more comfortable, perhaps. Maybe he did delay it to add on additional Queens. I mean, I can't take that away from him, but I think that it could have definitely started earlier.
All right, well, we're getting into game number 2 in just a second as the invites have been sent now. It's going to be on Varney Research Station. Surprise, surprise, as it has become one of the most common maps that we've been seeing in the European scene, at least, over the course of a couple of weeks. And I think we should be good to go, Southside GM.
Yeah, this map can be a little bit tricky in Zerg vs. Zerg because you can't scout fast enough to know if a rush is coming. The only way you can do that is for overlords in the middle of the map, and Zerglings can run around that. So most people do tend to push themselves towards spawning pool because of that, but at the same time, it's a great map to be able to push your economy coming into the mid game because you only have a 2-queen ramp to protect 2 bases inside your own. So then it becomes a lot easier. So it depends on how they want to open up. Do one of them really want to cut that corner and say, well, I hope he doesn't go for a super early spawning pool that could be tricky to defend. And if he doesn't, I'm going to be in good position because I did go for that early hatch and early economy very fast into the game.
Tough balancing act. Tough balancing act. Well, we're going to get into game number 2 now. As you can probably already heard, the countdown has finished, and we are jumping right on in. So let's get into things as we have spawning down to the south as our purple Zerg. It is Roof. And up to the top, it's our red Zerg. It is Snute.
Snooty. Snute. But yeah, this map can be pretty cool to be able to go for a really greedy Mutalisk game because of how easy it is to defend with just 3 queens. 1 creep spreading, sitting on the ramp, and then if an attack comes, you can bring the other queen from the main base to the ramp. You can build a spine crawler in time and so on. And it's difficult always as an attacking player to attack up a ramp. So you do see a lot of greedy builds on this map.
Yeah, well, we'll see if anybody's going to want to bring those out. Roof, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually just went for the same build again. It's found commonplace in meta at the moment, so wouldn't be surprised at all. And then Snute, on the other hand, you know, he could try and tailor something around that. He could actually go for something quite aggressive to try and hit us timing as well.
Yeah, this is an aggressive build from Snute. 13 gas and 13 spawning pool. Or is it even 13? No, 13, 12. So really early spawning pool coming out from Snute. Very early Zergling speed. Any greedy play coming out from Roof is going to be in a bit of trouble unless he's able to block that ramp really early on, which is difficult to do.
And this first Overlord has a hard time really spotting any of this. So it's going to be up to the first 2 Lings maybe even to poke forwards for a while.
Yeah.
Because even the second Overlord coming out doesn't really give you any indication of aggression because it's at a normal time once he passes it.
And it may be even Snute that's thinking, where's your second Overlord too?
True, true. It's on the left at the moment.
Spawn and pull first from roof anyway, then into the hatchery. But it's going to come. It's not about having the spawn and pull early to build Zerglings. It's about having a block on that ramp.
Yeah.
Because Zergling speed should be the way that Snute plays this. And if he gets Zergling speed, you know, Zerglings with speed into that main base running around, and you don't have a good amount of units, it's over.
Well, there's the spawn and pull finishing up. Speed starts instantly, and no more gas being mined here just yet for Snute. So
yeah, 6 lings by roof because he's not 100% certain what's going on right now.
Yeah. And actually rallying them to the back of the mineral line here.
Yeah.
Double extractor cancel just to get himself as efficient as possible with his lava.
And he's going to need 3 queens, so he's going to have to build one really fast. He can't play with gas in this game anymore. It's past that time. If he realizes what he's playing against, his Overlord shows him Zergling speed's on its way.
Yeah.
So now is panic time. He may even lose that Overlord too, which is going to really hinder his defense. He's taken an extractor, but I think that's probably the wrong way to play this. I don't think he can get any useful units out from that in time.
Oh, he actually, yeah, this Overlord's going to fall, which is a really, really nice pickup there for him.
Yeah.
Very, very eager to go in and see that gas.
Big supply block.
Yeah, that's going to hurt a lot. That supply block lasting so long here for around 25 seconds, and the Zerglings just walk on in, but, I mean, he's going to lose a few here, but not much.
Well, that was pretty nice there for Roof.
Yeah, he did all right.
12 lings on the way, though. He can't build an additional queen because his supply blocked. He's got 2 queens that can kind of help block the ramp, but they have to have a little bit more than that. I think a spine crawler should be starting.
Yeah, he's got to do something. He's positioning the 2 queens at the front. That means he's going to miss lava injects here for a little while. And that will hurt into his production, but he has to block it. He absolutely has to. Letting these lings in at this point would be pretty devastating.
1 queen is 10 energy away from a transfuse.
That'll always help out in the defense.
Looks like he might be able to hold this against these units.
It looks as if we've seen just the go back 2 of drones here from Snute on the other side of things.
Is he going to break through? Nice micro.
Yeah, very, very good positioning there by Rook. He loses one of the queens. Probably going to lose a second, but... Oh!
And a third.
Yeah, the third one
gets through.
Didn't get there quite in time. It was just barely in position.
And this game is almost over already. It's a huge loss so fast.
Yeah.
Like, he had 64 gas he couldn't use. Spine Crawler was late, and Snute breaks through. And Snute takes a really fast 2-0.
Yeah, GG. Well, that does that. Yeah. Do we have any more updates in the brackets that we can look at?
I don't know. Let me have a look fast.
I mean, it's a big bracket, so we kind of probably won't be able to have a relation
Not
to
really.
what happened before.
Not really. There's a couple of results, but nothing that stands out yet.
All right, okay. Well, as is normal here with these online cups, we are basically just going to be waiting for extra games to come along. So we're going to go to a short break at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship Qualifier, and then when we're back, we're going to have more StarCraft action. Stay tuned.